wild food, that's what hunting and gathering is all about. This is a journey into Britain's ancient way of life as we attempt to find the foods eaten by our hunter-gatherer ancestors. Some things never change. It's late summer and a very busy time for farmers bringing in their harvests. And of course, that was true of our ancestors too, because the late summer is a time of great bounty in terms of wild foods. But our ancestors weren't just gatherers, they were also hunters. And if we're to understand their diet, it's terribly important that we explore the world of the hunter. It's all about the tools they had and the weapons they made. About the game they tracked and the signs they could read. If I can begin to see our landscape through the eyes of a hunter, it will help me connect with our past and the animals that still roam wild here today. We'll need to find the plants which could have given them the energy to hunt, could have flavoured and helped preserve their meat, and would balance such a protein-rich diet. Our forebears were nomads, setting camp near the resources they needed, and I'm going to do the same. Helping me is Professor Gordon Hillman from University College London, a world expert on the archaeology of wild foods. Gordon's knowledge of plants and my experience with tribal people come together in our quest to bring our silent past alive. Hi Gordon, how's it going?
Oh, well, so it's already beginning to look a bit like home, isn't it?
Yeah. Hunting is an exhausting business and needs high energy supplies. One food our forebears could have turned to is pendulous sedge. It's just what we're after.
Perfect, absolutely perfect.
It's quite heavy too.
So it's got good sized seeds in it.
Now, what's interesting about the pendulous sedge is its great abundance and ease of gathering when at this time of year. And I reckon that this is the sort of food that a party of hunters or family travelling between other seasonal gluts might well have made use of. They could easily gather this, grind it up between rocks and cook it into a simple bread, which is quite sustaining.
There's not a great number of seed plants that you can actually strip in this way. But it works in this case very nicely. And they're just nicely ready for the plucking right now. Of course, we're collecting a bit of wildlife with it, of course, unintentionally.
How are you doing there, Gordon?
Well, it's going on well. A lot of it is slightly green, which is good.
Yeah, there's a bit of moisture in it, isn't it?
That's right. So it won't be quite so husky as it would be otherwise.
And you can imagine, can't you, people travelling through the ancient forests and coming across a stand of this looking like that. And they know that someone's been along.
Absolutely, yes. You've been here. That's a visiting card.
Pendulous sedge doesn't suffer from ergot fungal infection, so they're a safe seed, but complicated to process. We start by winnowing, grinding, and parching with hot rocks. Hot, 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 hot. Ready? Hear them popping?
You certainly can. I think there's definitely some parching going on there.
Tell you what, it looks different, doesn't it? You see the way it's moving there? It's more like moving more like a liquid.
It is. It's got a fluid texture to it. So we're not only parching the grain and making it dehuskable here, we're also cooking the insects, of which there are plenty, insects and spiders, thousands of them in here, little tiny ones. And not only are we getting this protein and other nutrients from the insects, we're also getting their droppings, their feces. And it's said that they're quite rich in some of the B vitamins. So there you go, Ray. A nutritious meal indeed. Which of the B vitamins are involved?
Thank you for that, Gordon.
I don't know.
I've always wanted to know that.
Well, it's reassuring that you're feeding yourself so comprehensively.
I don't know whether you can see that, but that's what we're after. Those are the nutlets, and those have been removed from all of this material.
Then the nutlets are ground to make a starchy biscuit, which can be baked in the ashes.
I've always looked at these at this time of year when you might imagine hunters now thinking about making journeys to areas that are better for hunting and for fishing. This is exactly the sort of thing they might need.
Yes.
And it's a very easy thing to try and make enough for a couple of days,
That's
travel
right.
on.
And it'll keep for several days, a biscuit of this sort.
Yeah, it's ideal for carrying with you.
That's right.
And you know as well as I that these biscuits are much more nutritious than anything that we're used to today.
Absolutely. They're a very concentrated source of starch, and of course a lot of these seed foods are quite oily, and
A lot more chewy as well.
yes.
Well, I think I want to have a look at it now. I don't want to leave it too long. There it is there.
That's not bad at all. They're a bit more gritty than usual.
I quite like that. I've got no problem. I think chocolate coating on the top, you can sell it. And this bit that's still here, I don't know whether you can smell that. It's just starting to burn in the embers there, that little bit that fell off. And that is the smell of burning bread.
It is.
That's something that our ancestors knew as well as we do today,
Indeed.
the smell of burning bread, but it meant an awful lot more to them because they had to go to the efforts of collecting all the seeds.
So with biscuits in their bags, they had their supplies. But these Stone Age hunters needed weapons, and 10,000 years ago in the Mesolithic, the bow and arrow really came into its own, with arrowheads made out of flint.
Trying to drive off long, narrow blades, this sort of thing, and those were the stock in trade of the Mesolithic craftsmen. The tools from the Mesolithic are quite fascinating because they're very tiny. It's this small blade that I'm going to use to make the arrow point. I'm going to use a pressure flaker, which is basically a sharpened piece of antler, to help me create little blades, tiny blades.
And the next step is to set the arrowhead on the shaft.
There's the groove that I've cut, and here is the point, and that will fit quite snugly now into that notch. And to hold it in place, I'm going to glue it. It's not even bound on, it's just glued in place using what I think was the key revolution of the Mesolithic, which is Birch Tar Glue. And that's what I've got there on the end of that stick. This is like the epoxy of its age. It's thermoplastic. I can heat it up over the fire, it melts, and I put it on there, push the point in, and when it cools, it sets rock hard.
I've extracted this birch tar from the bark of the tree using modern methods, but we're not certain how this was done in the Mesolithic.
Many of the arrows from this period were left just like that. Now that's perfectly capable of doing what it needs to. But there was one found in the archaeological record from Denmark that shows another blade fitted behind, and that's what I'm going to do here.
Multiple haftings like this are very typical of the Mesolithic and serve to cause more hemorrhaging, thus bringing the animal down faster.
Very satisfying making that. I think our ancestors would have been quite happy with that as an arrow. And at the time these arrows were being used, we know that bows like this one were in use. This is one that I've made from wych elm, and it's a copy of a bow called one of several bows from a site called Holmgard. And they are the earliest bows found. Very few bows are found in the archaeological record. Lots of arrows, thousands and endless